online reporter Letis Bromovsky, and we're going to delve into the papers for you. So you don't have to, but grab a coffee, do stay with us. And we're going to start with the Financial Times, the front page, and the fallout from the US President Donald Trump and billionaire owner of X and Tesla, Elon Musk. This continues. It's set to be explosive, but insiders behind the scenes are urging the president to cool this rift.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people want this to be over because, one, it's also a huge distraction. When you think about all the other things that Trump has on his plate right now, from Ukraine and Russia, from Israel and Gaza, from China and his tariff wars, you know, the financial situation in the US, this is not what he needs to be focusing on right now, the sort of war that's going on with the world's richest man. So it's no doubt that people are saying hug and make up, but the two egos of these two men in a room together, it's going to be hard to see how they would. We already have heard from White House officials that they tried to put a phone call in place to get them both on the phone together, but Trump refused to go and have that phone call. So now we're not quite sure what the next step is going to be. And really, there is an issue here for Trump that is threatening him in this case. You know, there will be sort of fallout from his side in terms of what this means for his big, beautiful bill, which is what this fallout is really all over, about these huge tax cuts that they want to implement, whether that will see the rise of more Republicans coming up and sort of opposing the bill, and how they might have got that vote of confidence from Elon Musk. And there's other things as well, because Elon Musk has been talking about maybe creating his own political party, and whether we'll start to see maybe a split in Republicans and more votes for Elon Musk. So a lot of people will want this to be brushed away and moved over pretty quickly.
I'm just looking at X and Elon Musk's account, and his it's his pinned post, and it's just what you mentioned. It's saying, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? And currently 80% of people who took part in this said yes. It is time. And that really strikes a chord with politics here, really.
Absolutely.
Because we had that five-party race, didn't we, here in the UK in the local elections and that by-election too, and Reform being the party on the rise. So there's some similarities between what Musk is kind of tapping into, and he was a big supporter himself.
It's tapping into, exactly. And it is tapping into that appetite for change that people have. Like you say, we've seen so much recently, the rise of smaller parties, whether it's the Greens, whether it's Lib Dems, or whether it's Reform, who really are striking through the middle. They're the place that people are going to because they're just so fed up with this two-party state that we seem to have. And it seems like a similar situation is happening in the US. I mean, Musk's got about, 220 million followers? If 80% of those people who are voting on there are saying, you know, we don't support any of this, we'll vote for you, Elon Musk, that's a danger to Trump.
Well, it is.
And
their wider implications are huge. And it's not just us being there for the comments with popcorn. The wider implications for what this might mean for the Trump administration are huge.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Really huge. Let's move on to the eye. And this is, again, the front page. Alzheimer's blood test breakthrough to help spot the disease early. And spotting it early is key to this story, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. This is quite an important story. You know, Alzheimer's in the UK is affecting around 500,000 people, I think, and that's just directly those people. So then all the families that are affected by that. This new study is suggesting that with 95% accuracy, you can identify it within people. I mean, 95% is essential because that means you're then getting that early and that early intervention. And that was so essential for families who have to go through that, because the reality is there isn't a cure right now. There will be lots of people looking forward to a cure, but it's not there right now. And this, for impacts on families, for care, for the NHS and money, and being able to give someone the long-term care they need when those Alzheimer's effects really kick in, is essential. So finding this early, this is really important.
It's interesting. It says that this dementia blood test within the NHS, it could take 5 years. So the hope there that eventually there will be something that detects it earlier, because that's key to what families say about coping with loved ones who have Alzheimer's. Really important story, that. Thanks for picking that one. Let's move on to the Daily Mirror, page 7. And this is all about a crackdown on fire sticks that means football fans or sports fans can have access to games they're not actually paying for.
Yeah, so it's a bit cheeky. The article is saying that there's about 6.2 million Brits at the moment who are watching TV illegally with these Fire Sticks, which is a huge number actually out there. And, you know, you can appreciate sometimes that it is very expensive nowadays to have a streaming service for everything, whether it's HBO, whether it's Netflix, whether that's Amazon Prime.
I mean, I've got about 5 on the go at home with the kids, but I pay for that legally.
Yeah.
And I think everyone else should pay for it legally.
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's not a victimless crime, you know. If you are going through and doing it through, broadcasters like Sky will be losing out on money, and it'll be our jobs really at the end of the day.
Business model, doesn't it? If everyone's heading on these Fire Sticks.
No, exactly. But it's also saying that, you know, you could be getting 5 years in prison if you are caught out doing this. I mean, 5 years is a really, really long time at this point.
And also, I think the key to this story is that people at home that buy these Fire Sticks won't really be thinking much about it. They'll be thinking, oh, I've got a cheeky game that I can watch, and it's forgotten. But if this crackdown really targets those people at home and say, is it worth a 5-year stint in prison?
No, I think the answer for everyone would be no. It's definitely not just so you can watch your football game on Saturdays or your latest TV show on HBO. I'm going to say 5 years isn't worth it. But it does remind me a little bit as well of how they crack down on TV licences. It is quite hard to monitor these things, and whether it's going to be easier to going to the people with them or to the people supplying them, it's probably more likely to be the people supplying them that the government should go after.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, no, it is, really is. And we're going to round up the paper review with the Daily Mail, and it's David Beckham receiving that knighthood. And it's a story by Katie Hind, one of your colleagues, fashionistas, and UNICEF behind Beck's fairy tale gong. So, you know, almost saying his charity work and his, you know, influence on fashion and culture.
I know, exactly. And for many football fans, for many Beckham fans, this has been like very much a long time coming. They've been surprised that it hasn't happened in a long time, but there's a lot of people who are very happy with it, and they're big royalists.
Absolutely. Join us after the break.
Jubilation in the streets,